Hey, good people. Welcome to another episode of Live at 5, presented by Peep Game TV. I'm your man, SRD. We're waiting for my main man, 100 grand, Big Muzz. As usual, we start out with letting you know our intentions and our mission is to uplift fallen humanity, starting with one person, one family, one neighborhood, one city, one state at the time, state at a time. With that being said, let's get into it. Why do you hear me when I speak talk about us as a people and our statehood? Why is that so important? Let's think about what we deal with in today's society. Alaikum salam, brother Earl. How are you, my brother? You know, let's think about what we deal with. Let's think about how many other people in this country who has been here for centuries still call themselves by a description, basically saying, okay, where we have BT, Black Entertainment, where we have HBCUs, historically Black colleges and universities. How many other people have to go to that extent to be recognized as a people? So let's think about what that really tells us. Absolutely. Absolutely. So when we look at that, when we look at nobody but us have to do that, that should tell us something. That should tell us that and then think about this too. Think about many of us are so uncomfortable with America that we don't even really want to call ourselves American. We prefer to call ourselves Black because we know there's something missing from us, that when it comes to being protected and upheld and treated equally in this country, it's not happening for us. I mean, we've tried just about everything except our own state, except having our own government separate from the American government. And why shouldn't? Why shouldn't we give that a shot? Especially when there's documentation that support us being able to do that. Especially when many of us already know that Black is just a description. Black is not a nationality because we all know that Black is tied, all people with a nationality is tied to the land, and the land is named after the people, and the people is named after the land. We all know that. So, why is it that we continue to allow ourselves to be recognized as something, just a description? I mean, it's just a description. So it's important for us to be able to have political power, because without political power, you really don't have the social and the economic power to be able to do what it is that you want to do. I mean, how many times has it been shown to us with individuals whom we see with money and money, and we perceive that they have power until America's government decide, no, we don't want that person to have power. And after the government goes after them, what can we do? What do we usually be able to do? Let's use R. Kelly and Puffy and Bill Cosby. When the American government went after those three individuals, what were we able to do as Black people? How were we able to stop the American government from coming after these individuals? We wasn't. All we could do is complain. And why? I mean, if we in the '60s yelled Black Power, and we love being Black, and get it as a description, it's fine, but as a legal identity or a legal personality, it's holding us back. And I don't, as much as emotionally connected as people are to it, we have people all over the world that can identify with our skin complexion. So we identify basically by our skin complexion. And as I said before, when other people, and I'm going to say our nationality, when other Moors come from different countries, many of us as Americans or African Americans or Black Americans make them feel uncomfortable when they say they're not Black. And we get angry at them. Why? At the end of the day, neither are we as a people. It's just something that's been passed down for years and years, and we have accepted it, and it's not really doing us justice because we're still in the same type of struggles. We're still struggling with voting. I mean, some of that comes up when during voting where they say the Republicans want to take your voting rights. And how come so-called Black people have to struggle to vote? And people had to, and the big line that they used to get us to vote for their candidates, American candidates, is people died so you could vote. We have to stop falling for that line because at the end of the day, people died based on the literacy of America. America being told that those of us who identify with Black was the problem, when the real problem has been those of us who identify as Black, identity has been stolen and it's been replaced with a color that created colorism, which ultimately they used as racism, which ultimately separated us as a people across the globe, as well as any other ethnicity that comes into this country has a problem with us based on the lies that have been told about those of us who identify as Black. And it's something that we, as a people, have to address. We already see the signs. We already know that something is not right, many of us. And what it's going to take is for us to come together under our true identity, not what we've been identifying as or people identify us as, but our true identity, which is our legal identity, our legal personality, our political personality, that's going to be able to bring us across the globe together. Many times when we're talking, and my brother Big Muz say that it's like seem like I'm trying to separate people. It's never about separating us as a people. It's about uniting us as a people all across the globe, all across the world. However, it's going to take us uniting here because we are the ones who have the legal documentation that can be proven. As I said, those of you who are watching, take the time to look at the AMPAC study sessions on YouTube. Take your time. You know, you don't got to watch it all at once. Look, watch a half hour here, half hour there, but you're going to get the information and you're going to be able to look the information up to make sure what the brother is saying is true, is correct. And who else are we if we're not what the documentation says? We've been misled, misguided, and been thinking that our whole struggle has been about our complexion when it's really been about our identity. It's really been about who we are as a people. Why do you think when it comes to history, America, even the schools have so much of a problem trying to hide our history? Why? Because at the end of the day, hiding our history helps America and its government to remain in power. Without us knowing who we are as a people, it stops us from being able to connect here and across the world. That's what's been happening to us. We are all across the world. In every country, we exist. We are in every country across the world, and we've always been there prior to the colonizers, aka foreigners, aka Europeans, coming and invading. And listen, this is not a bash white people or European people. No, this is not about that. What it's about is us as a people being equal with all other people all across the world. And the only way we get to be equal is to have our own government in each 50 states. It's something called Uti Possidetis Juris, which says that we have to peacefully carve out the territories, latitude and longitude of each state that we live in, and do our documentation, which is we have to declare our independence and do our can't get the it's going to come to me our constitution. We have to have our own constitution. Remember, no matter where you live right now, whatever state you live in, that state has a constitution. And that constitution, I guarantee you, if you pull it up and read it, it doesn't say, anything about who we call ourselves. And it doesn't protect us. That's why so many of us feel so uncomfortable. That's why many of us have been trying to hold on to black because we felt like we had nothing else. But we do. Now that we know we have something else, that's where we have to start. That's what it's time to start operating on. It's time to start operating and getting more knowledge about who we are so that we can teach the children who they are. So our children don't be lost like many of us were, being misguided, being taught the wrong things, being made to feel inferior because of our skin color. Imagine that. We have been made to feel inferior because of our skin color when it really had been about those who were trying to make us feel inferior has been hiding the truth of who we were because it causes the shift. It will cause everything to be switched around where instead of them governing us, we will be governing them. And that's what we're dealing with. We're dealing with colonism rather than racism. It's been put in our minds that this been about race. No, it's not about race. It's not about them hating us because we so-called black. It's about them knowing whenever we use black, that helps them remain in power. That's that's what it's about. It helps them to remain in power by them, and I say America, United States of America, the American government. I don't want to continue to use they because it's not about white people. It's not about me hating white people or not liking white people or any other ethnicity. That's not what it's about. It's about us as a people that identify as black all across the world, realizing that we've been lied to and we've been played to allow other people to govern over us and come into our land and utilize our resources and have us paying them to stay on our land. Imagine that. Imagine somebody coming into your home and say, look, I want to stay a couple days. Next thing you know, they got you paying rent for your own home. This is what has happened to us. And it happened because we were adopted. We were adopted by America. And we were adopted by Great Britain. We were adopted by Germany. We were adopted by Russia. All over the world, we were adopted by other people who took basically through a pen and some force, took the land and have us at their mercy. That time is over. It's time for us as a people, as a Moroccan Moorish people, to stand up and start reclaiming, reestablishing our government all across this land and then all across the world till we begin to have what we once had. Because hiding our history helps them to stay in power. Why? Because when we look up African American or black, what do it leads to? It leads back to just being a slave. And when you have that type of mentality, when you're thinking about you've been a slave for years, over 400 years, as they stated, and now you're able to go outside, go to work, and get paid, it psychologically makes you think that you've made progress when that's a big lie. That's the game that they've been playing on us. So it's time for us to start peeping the game and start dealing with this government, this uh, state with evenly. Think about this. Think about whatever you do, if whatever game you play, whatever it is, there's always equal. If you got a favorite team, whether it's basketball, football, baseball, there's always the same amount of players playing each position. That's what we need. We're playing a game with America and we don't have our team in position. Why? We don't have our team in position because we're expecting to go to their team and let them put us in position. What team would do that? Who wants to let somebody else come and overpower what they already put together? They already put that together. It's already a United States of America government. However, what they haven't told us, what America haven't told us, is the United States of America in Morocco, and not the Kingdom of Morocco, not the Kingdom of Morocco that's in Africa, not that. We are the Moroccan Empire. We are rebuilding the empire of Morocco, not the kingdom. I want to make that clear, but the empire. So that means we get the opportunity to reestablish our government and reestablish our 50 states where we as a people get to vote. And the women, the mothers, they write the laws. The mothers write the laws. And they have the legislative body. The men, executives. and judicial. So we get to start governing ourselves. And when we have a problem, now we deal with America state to state. We've seen the results of trying to deal with America as an individual. We've seen what happened to us. And it's not pretty what happens to us by trying to deal with America as individuals or as Black people. What was the whole Black Lives Matter was about injustice. So we know that voting for Donald Trump, voting for Biden, neither one of them is going to help our issues. They're not there for us. It's been an illusion. It's been a lie. They've been telling us that they got us, but they don't got us. What they got us in is in a trap of keeping us to be inferior rather than us who were really are the superior ones, even in what we call the peace treaties, what we call in the legal documents that explains who we are. This is why it's so important for us to realize that we've been lied to, that we've been played, like Malcolm X said, we've been hoodwinked. It's time for us to realize that. I mean, look what happens. Wherever you work at, you or I don't have the power to say where our taxes go. We don't even have the power to say how much taxes should be taken out. And when they take it, when America, so-called Uncle Sam, takes the taxes out, where did the taxes go? It don't come back to us. It don't come back to people that look like us. Why? Because we're not controlling the money. We're not in control of where the money goes. That's why it's important for us to reestablish our own and fill our empty seats instead of trying to fill the American USA seats. We have to fill our own seats so that we can start being in control of our tax money. So we can start being in control of what is imported and exported into our country. Not we many of us are feel less than calling ourselves American. Why we don't call ourselves American? Because deep down in our hearts, we know that we're not American. Deep down in our hearts, we know there's another part of us that has been hidden. This is why many times we've said that, our language and identity and everything was taken from us. This is why we say that, because we knew. Now that we know what happened and basically how it happens, now it's up to us to reestablish that, to come back to who we were, to come back to who we supposed to be. Now it's our time. It's our time and it's up to us. And we don't have to ask America's permission as we do now. We have to ask America's permission for just about any and everything we want to do. And as I said on previous shows, that how come we are the only people, those of us who identify as Black, are the only people, especially in this country, who are being governed by people that don't look like us? We have to ask ourselves that question. Why? When we got Chinese, we got Russians, we got Italian, everybody govern themselves. So why don't we have the right to govern ourselves? We do have the right. And that's our human, God-given right to govern ourselves. We must not continue to allow America to keep gaming us, having us running out to the polls voting for their candidates. Those not our candidates. They're not going to take care of us. We have to realize and understand that when we vote for them, we're voting for our demise, our being held back to lower standards. We're voting against ourselves rather than for ourselves. So do as I asked you. Go to impact study sessions. Start with one and watch all the way up to 145. Take your time. Don't rush. You got time. Do it during the day. Put your earphones on. Do it while you're cooking. Do it while you're working out. Do it while you're jogging. Just do it so that you can get the information that you need, so that you can be like me right here fighting for us in a way that we haven't been fighting, where we don't have to get on the streets and march. We don't have to be going begging somebody else to change laws to make it better for us, so that we don't have to continue going through that. It's time for that to stop. We have our own government, then we go to our government officials and talk and explain what's wrong, because we're going to be using people from that we choose, not that is chosen, not people that have been chosen to represent us like it's been in the past. Come on, it's our time. It's our time, and we have the ability, and we also have the human right to do so. It's our right as human beings to govern ourselves, to not allow someone or some people that look different from us, that treat us differently, to keep continuing to govern us when we have the ability to govern ourselves. We have the ability to have our own banks, our own schools, our own hospitals. We have the ability to do that. But it's going to take first identifying who we are and not continue to identify by a description that has been placed on us for many years that really divide us, but they've been tricking us, telling us that it brings us together. If it brought us together, I wouldn't be here talking to you right now. If we were so together, you wouldn't hear my voice. It wouldn't be no need to hear my voice. The fact that I'm here speaking to you is to let you know that it's not working for us. And I'm here to give you what will work for us, because it worked for us in the past. However, we wasn't taught. Our schools, the so-called schools that we were brought up in, didn't teach us that. No, why would it though? Why would it teach us how to regain our power as a people so that we can live in honor, dignity, and respect, and be a sovereign state where we only deal with ourselves and we do business with other individuals. This is what we've been missing. We can do business with ourselves and others, where we're not trapped or caught up in a system that continuously make us feel less than, continuously give us the short end of the stick. No, it's time for us to start doing what we have been brought into this world to do. And that's not just to govern ourselves, really. This is why I say to uplift fallen humanity, because once we uplift ourselves, then we begin to uplift humanity. Look what's going on across the world. The Europeans don't have the right state of mind to rule. Why? Because they're greedy, because they don't understand equality. They need to be taught. We were their teachers. However, they played a game on us and made us think that they were our teachers. I thank all of you for taking the time out of your day to spend it with us here, but we got a few more seconds. I only do a half hour when I'm doing it alone, and I really appreciate you. And I urge you all, go to the Impact study sessions, look at them, take your time, watch them, jot the information down, do your research, and come back and let's talk about it, because it's our time, people. Until next time, I wish you all love, peace, and happiness. And I love you all.